Maryland 2020 coming out of Corona. So this was unique because it was masks, it was plexiglass. I knew MarylandLive was going to be 7 max. The Horseshoe Baltimore ended up opening as soon as I got down there, which I didn't know in advance that was going to happen, but it did. That was 8 max. I didn't even know if I could win 7 max because like most of my poker has been Vegas, and if it were 7 max in Vegas, that means like you're often playing with 5 people, like you and 4 others, because people love leaving the table. In Maryland, it wasn't a huge deal, I learned, because in Maryland, people go to the casino to actually play poker, not like in Vegas. You know, they sit down and they actually play. They don't sit down, play 3 hands, and then leave for an hour and a half and get picked up. But I wasn't sure if I could even like win 7 max, which would really be like 6 max. So there were a lot of questions, and I didn't know how the social aspect would be, you know, with the plexiglass and the masks. Turns out it wasn't a huge deal. It was different, but it wasn't a huge deal. So really looking for a hot start. I had finished law school. My plan was to get back into poker full time, and then Corona happened, and for like a few months I played online for like small amounts of money, and I was waiting for casinos to reopen, and they did, and it was much different than I thought, and a strong start was very important. I was looking again. 3rd year law school ended. I couldn't play a ton during that 3rd year. I played when I could. I was looking to play a ton of hours now that I had nothing else on my plate, and the start was important, and here are the stats. Okay, final group of stats, and since I'm in California right now in real time, might as well give you a picture from the tables in California. Anyway, Corona, coming out of Corona, playing in Maryland. Now everyone can see the numbers. Here we go. Mostly MarylandLive. It became a lot more Horseshoe Baltimore, but you can see it's a lot of MarylandLive right now. First thing to note, the first 2 days were not very good. Wasn't a catastrophe, but it wasn't the start I wanted. And even the beginning of the 3rd day, September 4th, that looks like a full day, 8.5 hours. That was the first part of the 3rd day. Things didn't go well. Minus 37 isn't like an awful result. It's just that I see so many hands being won by like mediocre holdings, and like so many bad players continuing to rebuy, and I really want to play, but things weren't going well for me. I was down 37. I took a break, of course, went to Wawa, and instead of going home, went back to the casino, played another 5 hours, and things finally clicked. I mean, I was playing well anyway, just finally a couple of hands went my way, and that's a perfect epitome of basically my life in poker. When things are going poorly, small loss. When things are going well, large win. So I went back to the casino after Wawa, made 700, and it was a much better day in total, plus 600 something, and over 13 hours, and that kind of jump started me. And eventually, let's color code this, white and orange. White is the profit. My first full week in Maryland, plus $2,370. Because of that jump start on the 4th, I was able to like have more confidence, play a lot more, really want to get back to the tables as soon as I woke up in the morning. And orange is the hours. I was able to get 74.81 hours in my first full 7 days down there, which is about 10 hours, 41 minutes per day. So that's what I wanted. Again, this is the last video in the series. Times where instances in my life where I had the time, really was hungry to play, really wanted a lot of hours, really wanted to maximize my money, and things went well for me. One of the best forms of run good I've ever had. All 7 of these times, things happened such that I was able to put in very high amounts of volume. So I showed you the start in September. October was actually pretty poor. October, everything went as poorly as possible. I still made $800 something in 265 hours. I was still dedicated to playing a lot, even though things were going poorly. I had nothing else to do, no channel, nothing else to do. I got 265 hours in 31 days in October. The profits weren't huge. A lot of runouts were just going as bad as possible. But that's the thing. It would have been so much worse if my October were my September. If I got down there and instantly things were going poorly, and in the first 30 days I only made like $800, and it was like a struggle to win a hand, to have a really good nightly result. It wasn't as bad after the start in September was as profitable as it was to weather what October threw at me. So that's what I was talking about with all these sessions. Like when I moved to Vegas in 2015, it's not like all of 2015 was amazing. The start was great. The first 7 weeks were like white hot for me. And then I was able to like bear what happened later that wasn't so amazing. Same thing in Maryland. AC, there was a small stretch that wasn't great. Oklahoma, the entire stretch was amazing. But a strong start makes it easier to get through a rough patch in the middle. A rough patch right away is bad, not just because like it messes with you mentally, because you know, you don't have the money to show for it. So this was probably the best form of run good I've ever had in my life. That so many times in my life when I had a new city, a new start, I was coming off a stretch where I didn't play poker a lot and I was really motivated to play a lot of hours, that the results very quickly were strong, and it was very easy to put a lot of hours in, and put a lot of hours in cities that have really valuable hours. You know, hours in MGM National Harbor made me about 24 an hour. Those were more valuable than hours in Vegas, which like Lifetime have made me about 13. So it was really important that all these times I wanted volume to be huge. Nothing happened to mess that up, and it's a form of run good that basically no one ever talks about, but it definitely exists, and I'm very thankful that so many times in my life things worked well that way. And remember, rice is a spoon food.